Up a little bit.
A clap.
3,
2,
PW1, 7 take 1.
start.
How about we set up a practice? We were heavily into multidisciplinary engineering. We believed that that was the way forward, and not many people were doing it to the extent that we wanted to. So we saw that as a good reason to kickstart a practice. So, negotiations went on, and eventually, 1st of July, 76, there we were on our own.
The vision, actually, the initial vision was survival. We were spun off from a much larger practice, and I think we had 5 partners and 12 staff. There was a glitch within a couple of days of the starting date, in which the whole thing nearly fell apart. We were unique, I suppose, in that we'd already established the idea of a coordinated engineering practice. So we had civil engineering, structural engineering and building services. So that was slightly different to most people at the time. We saw that coordination as something which the industry basically needed. There were an awful lot of chaos at times in design jobs in those days.
Are we going to be successful? Even at the beginning, we were pretty sure that what we had was good. But once this opened, it was. We could continue as long as there was a market there for what we were offering. The success was what made us realise that we were doing okay.
So I joined Cundall back in 2007. It was a very different practice then to the one that we work in today. We had probably about 250, 300 people at that point. We didn't have the global reach that we have today. We were starting to expand internationally, but it was the fairly early days of all of that.
If the current partners, or the partners who were here 25 years ago when I left, if they'd continued doing what I did at the beginning, or even at the end, you wouldn't have all of this.
I think the foundations were right when it was started. I think that's proved to be the case. It's what we hoped would be the case. But it was a lot of fun as well, and it was quite exciting, I think.
The whole practice was partner-driven. I'd say the money was important. Of course, it was important in any business, but it wasn't the guiding light by which the practice operated. The important thing was to do a good job. But it was important you did a good job and made a profit too. But it wasn't. We had no shareholders to keep happy. Decisions in the practice were made. Only 5 of us sitting around a table, and we may well, indeed we did. We argued quite a lot about what we were going to do, about X, Y, and Z, and how different facets of the practice were going. We argued quite a lot, but we always came up with a common solution. That's what we're going to do, and there's never any question of anyone deviating from that. We were, and I love that. All for one and one for all, if you like.
Ownership retained within the practice is essential. I've watched so many practices that were great potential, they sell out to shareholders, and eventually the direction of their practice is governed by shareholders, not by those who are in it. So once you lose that internal ownership, I think you're in great danger of losing the direction of the practice.
Well, I think one of our defining characteristics is that we are owned only by people who work in the business, and it's a very wide group of people, and that's intentional to make sure the business stays focused on the people in it, and that there are no individuals who are really just trying to, who've got too much at stake or too much ambition to get more out of it than anyone else.
We've carried on and we're committed to being a partnership, and I think that's absolutely fundamental to why Cundall are now here at 50 when so many businesses struggle to get to that point. Because as a partnership, our whole focus is on the long-term benefit for all the people that work in the business. We can make long-term decisions, and we realise that as partners we are just custodians of the business, looking after it and growing it to pass it on to the next generations that come after us and leave it as a bigger and better business. I think that's absolutely fundamental to everything we do, and I think that's the real root of our success. in the past 50 years and hopefully for the next 50.
It is not uncommon to have a partner or a director have a desk next to a graduate engineer, or have them guide and mentor the less experienced engineer. I know that this feeling of specialness is echoed in other offices, as Cundall has a fair share of long-time employees around the world. People don't stay in a place where the work isn't meaningful or where there isn't appreciation or recognition.
I joined as a graduate and I've been here for over 9 years, and I don't think that's uncommon within Cundall. I think that quite a lot of people have spent their whole careers here, and I think that's obviously a really good sign and shows that it is a really special place to work.
The fact that we've been able to maintain that original core value to put people first over 50 years has been predominantly because we've retained our independent business status. So we've been able to put the things first that matter to us as leaders and to us as individuals within the business and as a collective. And yeah, for me, that's what sets us apart. It's our people first approach from the original values that were instilled by the founding partners.
Well, I would say what defines us really is our values. Our clients and our people are really important to us. So integrity is really important, creativity, collaboration and sustainability. And these are things that have really been part of the company since I joined. So I've got all of this from the founding partners personally, and it's something that we've run with as a business. And I think taking care of our people is to the benefit of our clients, and taking care of our clients is to the benefit of the business. And fundamentally, that's what we've done as long as I've been in the business, and it's worked very successfully, and we've built the business on the back of that.
On the people side, we always choose the projects that we work on. We always ask whether those jobs will be challenging and developing for our staff. Will our team benefit from them? Will they enjoy it, and simply will they like what they do?
Every project we take on is a chance to do better than the last. And that's the same thinking applies to ourselves as individuals. We don't just want to be good at what we do, we want to keep growing to outperform who we were last year. That means continuous self-improvement, honest project reviews, open knowledge sharing, and really listening to our clients. These aren't just processes, they are part of our culture.
My ethos at the time was that you had to enjoy work. If you didn't enjoy it, you're working in the wrong practice. Because if you don't enjoy it, you don't give your best.
I think the idea was that we wanted to create a business which was less hierarchical than practices that we'd all worked for in the past. And we thought that was a way of being able to involve and motivate staff and so on if we set up a structure like that. And I think that's how we started.
I would like to think that the fundamental identity of the practice will remain unchanged, and that we'll still stand for all of the things that we've stood for the last 50 years, that we will still be very much focused on our people, very much focused on technical excellence, very much focused on looking after our clients. So I think the essence of what we are as a practice will be the same. I think we'll evolve because the world in 50 years will be very different to what it is today, and we've got to keep pace with that. And I think this balance between protecting and preserving everything that is amazing about Cundall, but also evolving to keep pace with the changing world in which we're operating has always been difficult, and it's one of the things that I think about a lot as managing partner. But I think there are some fundamental elements to who we are and what we stand for that will stay, or I hope so.
Our zero carbon design program that we're doing for 2030 is a good example of what that looks like from a purpose perspective, but also what are we doing as a business. I think that's flown through all levels of our business. It's one of the only things that we did that started out from downwards upwards in terms of who's driving it. So early careers people were super interested about it. That's kind of the way of the world at the moment. A lot of energy comes from those that are early careers, driving things that ordinarily you probably wouldn't see coming from early careers, but they're so passionate about the planet and so passionate about sustainability and what that means. It's part of everyday life and culture and what they want to see. So I think the engagement on that piece and the champions that we have in place bodes us well moving forward, and I think it's a really strong kind of feedback loop for me and for the other leaders that we're moving the dial in the right way.
For me, one of the big draws was the zero carbon commitment, but also carrying that excellency throughout all of the projects. And yeah, just the hopeful, optimistic view of the future.
We're really lucky to have a global workforce with a really diverse background, and with that brings a huge amount of experience and different thoughts, and I think that is so important. If we have one thought process, one type of person, then we can only design one type of design. And I think for Cundall and who our people are and how we're going to have a more sustainable planet, that's such an important thing to have, and it's something that we do really, really well at Cundall.
I think if I pick one thing that's happened in our 50 years, it is the decision to go to become a global business. And we took that about 25 years into the business. The first 25 years of the business was set establishing a good, if you like, regional consultancy business based in Newcastle, Edinburgh and London. And then we decided, look, we can do really good work. Why can't we do this really good work across the globe? And so we started a journey in 2002 to expand the business globally. Not only just to give us access to the best projects in the world, and that's what we believe, is that we should be able to take on any project on the planet. And I think we'll be able to demonstrate that to everybody, the opportunities we've got, but also to access talent. And we would not have grown and have so many great engineers and everybody else in the business if we hadn't gone to all the places around the world. And that's the most fantastic thing, is turning up somewhere new and realising that all of the people that grow up in every country have so much talent and ability to help and chip in to everyone else and come to making an even better business. So I think that's, to me, the one significant thing, is go global.
The international business was really just built out of something that I think the practice has been very good at, which is supporting people in it, in the knowledge that if you've got good people, you can have a good business. Both born out people wanting to go and take something on.
So I'd been with Cundall about 3 years, and then there was murmurings around opening up in Asia, and we actually planned the Shanghai office first. But very soon after, we decided to look into Hong Kong. I wasn't actually part of that early planning, but I heard about it, and somehow an opportunity came up, and I just put my hand up and said, that sounds interesting.
One of my fondest memories is visiting Hong Kong 12 years ago, and you welcomed me. We went out for dim sum, we went to the Hong Kong Jockey Club. You really, that again, that's the kind of the Cundall approach that I remember, of just people, wherever you travel, welcome you and want you to experience that city. It's a lovely part of our culture.
Cundall gives you the opportunity to grow and experience new regions and ideas within the company. I've been fortunate enough to move between 3 different offices, Dublin, London and now Sydney, and it's really helped me grow in my professional and personal life.
I've had some opportunities at Cundall to do things that took me a really long way out of my comfort zone, and I've had a lot of kind of oh my goodness moments, to put it politely, at various stages of my career where I've been invited to do something and I've had that self-doubt that, am I ready for this? Am I good enough for this? Can I do this? And so I think the advice I would give anyone is do it anyway. It's way better to regret something you did do than something you didn't do. And the learning comes from stepping outside of your comfort zone and doing difficult things. So looking back, I've very rarely regretted any of the difficult things I have done. So feel the fear and do it anyway, I suppose.
I think our industry is very much a people-driven industry. So we're consultancy, so we provide advice, and we're supposed to be the experts, and our clients need experts to achieve their outcomes, what they're actually trying to achieve. And the only way that you can do that is through effective communication, through honesty and through integrity. So I think the most important thing really is building that relationship with your clients, building that relationship with your people, and showing, and being honest to what you actually do. And you know, be allowing yourself to be vulnerable if you need to be vulnerable, but you know, just having that honest, straight conversation with people, that's really the best way of demonstrating to people that you care. And when you know what people's challenges are, whether that's personal challenges for your staff, whether it's challenges for your clients, the best way to achieve solutions is understanding that, understanding their drivers and understanding their challenges. And I think you can only do that through building strong bonds and relationships and effective communication.
Practically everybody knows everybody in the construction industry. So the morals were, I think, just be honest, be truthful, treat everyone fairly, and that was it, really.
Always be honest. If we had a problem on a job, I would go to the client and tell them about it and tell them how we were going to get out of it. It is all about trust.
We offer a tailored service solution to that of just being, say, transactional and just being of a sort of simplistic service offering based. I think this really builds that trust with our clients and ultimately makes us a partner of choice for them.
So what makes Cundall special, it really again comes back to the people. I think being here such a long time, I've grown up at Cundall, you know, almost 10 years now, and it's just a brilliant place to really foster skills and, you know, make you feel who you are. You know, you don't have to pretend to be anyone else. If you're, you know, there's so many different things that people can be, and it's so important to have that place that you feel at home.
I think all of the partners were aware that in order to progress in the practice, we needed to encourage the staff to express themselves to the maximum. So it's a question of recognising ability, rewarding endeavour, giving responsibility at a fairly early age to many engineers, which other practices might not have been quite so keen on doing. And recognising when somebody had made a special effort, actually making sure that people knew that they'd made that effort.
I've mentored quite a few people coming through the company, and I've seen friends of mine that are now directors, friends of mine that now, some that I've mentored now are like associates and have their own parts in the business. So yeah, to see that, I'm proud to be part of that.
What did I say to my younger self? I'd say don't be afraid of speaking out. And I think, you know, when I first started, and again back to the first project that I did with Cundall was Swiss Bank, I remember going with the senior engineer and the associate to meetings and just sitting there. And part of that is a learning process, is to learn how the senior engineer and the associate dealt with the meeting, dealt with the issues at the meeting, got what they needed out of the meeting, and make sure that things were happening. And I think not just be afraid of speaking out, but speaking out about other disciplines as well, because sometimes you can add something to a design. I've often got accused of being sort of a semi-architect, because I've sometimes given solutions, architectural solutions, because I know in my mind that makes the engineering easier. And so trying to make our life easier and keep costs down, save space, whatever it might be.
The practice was always set up with excellence in mind because of a poor reputation amongst construction engineers at that time. And Geoffrey Cundall was particularly interested in energy efficiency and the environment, and it developed from there.
Go and see other members of the design team, architects, clients, take them for a coffee and talk about their projects, just to explain how you can help in engineering terms. You don't have to be going out and taking them to evening events. Take them to a technical seminar so they can see that you understand engineering, because that's basically what they want.
Excellence for me means delivering the best outcome that we can get when we work together as a team, be it on a project, be it on a design. And when you take everyone along for the journey, the excellence comes through the journey, not just the final output.
The important thing is to invest in your staff, and their development, really, because things are going to change. These environmental issues are going to become more and more pressing, so you need people who are going to be able to respond to this.
It's important to continuously develop because the industry keeps on changing. So one thing that I've found recently is the incorporation of sustainability principles into all aspects of our design and not just a specialism. I've had to upskill myself as an engineer to learn new design tools in order to integrate different sustainable methods and help change the way we deliver projects in order to not just make buildings more efficient but also more sustainable.
Well, I think what engineers need to know is that no matter what level they're at, they're equally important with their peers. And therefore they shouldn't be afraid of seeking assistance and help. It's not a weakness from others, and they're all contributing to the same aim. So that's a culture that you've got to build in so that people get the confidence of communicating with others across the practice and now, of course, overseas.
I'm only here a couple of months now, but the amazing thing about my team is that my voice is heard and I feel my opinion is valued and considered. For example, only a few months into working here, I was able to help the team in a meaningful way by using my prior experience to communicate a method of delivering a part of a project, and we went along with it. I'm still a graduate, but I feel more responsibility given to me, which is good. It's not in a way that's tedious, draining, or daunting, that I must produce something or else, but rather in a very encouraging and empowering way, which makes me want to contribute more and grow, taking on more responsibility.
So I think what makes relationships great at Cundall is that you really build genuine connections with people. It's such a fulfilling place to work, and I think that really fosters innovation and working on projects. You're sort of free to face challenges together and be open, and I think you're able to then really easily ask for help. So I think, yeah, within our team, we do feel like I really know everyone super well.
For me, that's always been really important. The business is about anybody joining it should be supported to do the very best that they can. Their ambitions should be there. They should be able to fulfill them.
Staff that I took on 30, 35 years ago were trainees, graduates, and to see them now blossomed into the leaders of the practice throughout the world is made me very proud of them, and that at least I've had a little say in their future.
The majority of projects that we do in Cundall are multidisciplinary, so it's quite important to have that seamless integration of global disciplines. That's where your learning occurs, and that's where you can find solutions that are out of the box. And also, you essentially, it's like using not only your 10, 20, 30, 50 years experience, it's just like using 100 years of experience and more across the globe.
Our team learn and commit to continuous improvement by taking on challenges, embracing feedback from our clients and collaborators, by knowledge sharing and learning from others to stay ahead of industry trends.
I tell anybody starting in Cundall, and I tell all our graduates and apprentices every year that, you know, the job is theirs. All of the people that are starting kind of 30 or 40 years in this business, and I've made it clear to everybody they can make what they like out of it, as I've been able to do. So the potential is there. I've asked all of them, can someone do my job? Because that's what I want somebody to do, is take on Carol's job, take on my job, and the help and support is there to do it. So I'd say to people, the possibilities are up to individuals, what their ambition and everything is, because that's what I've always found in all my time at Cundall is, if you've got a good idea, put your hand up and you'll probably get backed to do it.
I think the buildings we're designing now, we still will be occupying in 50 years' time. I'm hoping that the buildings that we're designing in the next 5 to 10 years will be very different in terms of thinking about that designing for reuse and disassembly.
In 50 years' time, I see Cundall celebrating 100 years in business, and I also think we'll have grown further across the globe. Even in my time with Cundall over the last 10 years, we've doubled in size and we've doubled in location size as well, which is great to see. I think we're going to embrace digital engineering and AI further to ensure that we have better delivery methods for our clients.
Yeah, the digital engineering brings a lot of different impact to the human activities. In the engineering industry, my feeling is it will replace some of the so-called legwork in our daily tasks, which potentially is a good thing in a way to allow engineers to be more focused on the design instead of doing the boring tasks. And however, as an engineer or new generation engineer in the industry, when you think about it, how to prepare ourselves for the future challenges, so to allow you to stay focused on the design, then not being dragged into the low-tech required tasks.
For me, Cundall is special because of the people that are here, and I think it's as simple as that. We're a great team of global people that care about the job we do, care about the planet, care about the people we work with and the projects we work on, and it's the people.
The work shapes stuff that I can show my kids and I can talk to people about and feel proud about, yeah. And I think if you want a career that's fulfilling, construction can do that, yeah, particularly on the design side.
I don't think any of us individually have a proud moment. I don't know the answer to that. What we did. So we were just proud of everything that happened.